cherry CT and torso and arm. He ain't going down.
Big pack here from Eon. So obviously they know Eon. Oh, Jesus!
Should be coming up.
And MJ12 put something off there. Furia finishes off Growler. Honorable is about to go down. He's down, yeah. Furia finishes him off as well. T-Rex, one touch on the CT there. I think Dario's been legged though. That's bad. Oh, Data just gets CT one. Oh, 1, 2. Oh.
Yeah, it's got very weak leg here.
Jesus. But and that's it for him. Kid 4 is getting murdered by those frickin' streaks, and he's down.
Yeah, what eyes?
None of which are under 50 tons. So he is severely outmatched.
Oh, they've realised he's there now. They should be able to finish him off. Yep, Frio goes down. Yep, now John McFuzzy goes down. RJF are like, well, we got the win. We don't really need it. We got a full cap. Yep, they're diving him and he's dead.
Down to 59%.
Oh, taking a stranger coming.
No one's coming to help him. This little
Doing a Honorwolf doing a fine job.
oh, Draven loses a leg and is down. It's down.
Lost the torso.
This is just a straight up scrum.
Doozle on him. Sinjo in the Night Gyre. Oh, he's legged and going down.
Biscuit and jab. He is gonna
Honorwolf getting legged. Just Draven Seabiscuit left. Yeah, Phoenix
Leg.
Legion smartly going for legs. Hard legs on everyone.
There right now. Raven Colt just ends a strike.
Say that's finally.
Fury with the each of the pack. He did a long chop from the heavens. Oh no! Fury's still alive.
It's one torso. Just no.
Wolf goes down. That's it.
Yep, Admiral Korean Jesus standing there on Gamma. Let him chill. Admiral Korean
go live
Jesus
in
knows he's
18
got a
seconds.
knife. Admiral Korean Jesus taking it from both sides. Bowser on one, Stim on the other. He's getting out of there. He's down to 64. He's running around here. He's got Stim chasing him. And down he goes.
% from a single strike. Lermgod pushing in now. Dario gets Terminator. Dario finishing him off there. Lermgod finishes off. The Osiris is nearly dead. I think White Ace is the same deal.
Hello and welcome.
He's there. He stripped him.
Due to unfortunate technical difficulties, we did already do the 2v2. JGx taking the win on that. It was on Boreal Reach. It was a Rifleman 2C and a Jaeger mech. JGx taking out the 2 mechs for EMP, for God Squad. I'm here today with Giggity Giggity Goo. He is going to be co-casting with me. This is ToC Season 2 Division A, and we're going to be watching 2 of the best teams go at it for the remainder of the second to last match for both of them. And we're going to be moving right into Solaris City. I'm just going to bring a quick snapshot of the last match for the 2v2 up, just so you guys can kind of get an idea of what happened while we get ready here in the lobby. Alright, so you had Stimrog with 120 damage and Bowser with 85. They were facing off against JGx, who brought LRMs. Krasnopesky doing 632 damage, and Il Orso doing 316 in the Rifleman 2C. God Squad tried to close. Stimrog was the one who got the closest, but was inevitably put down due to the mixed supporting builds from the Jaeger mech and the Rifleman 2C. JGX now leading with 2 points.
It seemed almost as if it was that was a strat that both teams were planning on. Stimrog had mentioned something about that being the Lerm side, which kind of gave me the impression that both teams were planning on bringing Lerms had they gotten that side. And it just happened that JGX got that side.
True. Yeah, the hills are played in their favor for sure. They had shots as soon as they came out the gate, so I mean, it really played to their ability to, eliminate God Squad on that 2v2. Really quick, let's cut over to map strat, and we'll look at the match coming up real quick, so we can start talking about what might happen. We're going to be on Solaris City, and the cap is going to be Kappa. So, what do you anticipate is going to happen, Giggity?
Well, this is the light drop. Fast movers, potentially given these teams, they may bring some form of range, depending on if they found a sight line. There's potentially sight lines on Kappa from a couple different areas. Coming down here, you might be able to get some lines on it. Coming from over here, you can get some lines on it, but I'm just not sure that either team, unless they've really spent their time in the lobbies looking at the different sight lines, I don't know that any of them are going to bring range. What I'm expecting is honestly just a good old-fashioned brawl rush.
Yeah, that could happen. There is also the possibility of some of these high ground areas being used that oversee Kappa, which, if you have arm mounted or high torso mounted mechs, you might be able to create a bit of a holdout, even though it's more lighter mechs in this matchup. Also, this spot in between these buildings here can be used to kind of keep an eye or tabs on the enemy team as well. So I think we might see a little bit of control over there if they're going for a control strat at all.
It's possible. If there's any teams that can actually accomplish some form of control strat, it's going to be these two.
Absolutely.
So as you've seen in, of course, all the lower division matches and even some Div A matches, the light drop, it's almost always a brawl. Just they may not murder ball in. They may kind of come in a certain formation. They may set up to receive, but it always devolves into a straight up brawl. But if there's any teams that are going to be able to, I guess, break that trend, these are them.
Absolutely. There's some good options for heavies in this as well. You know what I mean? You could bring like a Nightgyre. You could bring different forms of laser vomit. You could default to a linebacker as well. So I mean, there's quite a bit of differentiating combinations that you could use in this matchup with all the buildings to use as cover.
What I'm super curious about is, of course, we've seen the heavy Gauss Thanatos making its rounds. I saw Blackwatch used it. Of course, I think you guys have used it. We've used it at KDCM.
Yes.
And we have some of the best shots in the whole game sitting in this lobby right now. So I'm curious if any of them are going to be bringing that, some form of super heavy pinpoint to just be able to take lights right out of the game immediately.
Yeah, fighting against the Thanatos with heavy gauze is kind of like if you were to fight Medusa. You don't want to look at it, and you don't want to be seen by it. You know what I mean? You need to flank it. You need to attack it quickly and go directly back into cover and not use that cover point again, because especially if you're playing a light roll, one shot is all it takes, and you're out.
Even if that one shot doesn't kill you, it's going to do so much damage that from there on out you have to play super, super carefully, and it borderline makes you useless.
Just waiting now for Team 2 to say if they're locked, and there it is. All right, let's move into Solaris City. Cap is Kappa, and let's see what happens.
If my math is correct, I think even having lost the duel, having gotten no points out of it, I still think EMP has the possibility of pulling this off, of taking the division. But they have to sweep them entirely.
Yeah, I mean, first Jaguar Guards had the 220 points, and then God Squad was at like 180, just not that far behind. So, I mean, it's anybody's game with these last two matches. This matchup's going to be very important to close that gap and create a tie scenario. All right, I have God Squad dropping over here on the north side. They have a Mistlink C, a Vapor Eagle 2, a Commando 1D, a Wolfhound 2, and a Thanatos 5S. What do you know? What do you have for Jaguar guards?
Looks like oh, that's interesting. So they have some of the standards: a Wolfhound 2, a Panther, which is great for the, of course, for all of the armor. They have a Veagle 1, which looks like it has PPCs. That's their medium. And interestingly enough, they brought a Black Widow, which you don't particularly see that often.
Is the Black Widow DACA? I'm gonna have to check that out. Most likely should be, unless they try to create a new type of Thanatos.
It is
ER, PPC, and 4 AC2s. Interesting.
Then they have, of course, an Urban Mech. Looks like he's lagging kind of behind, however.
God Squad is first to the cap. They're using the Commando 1D small profile to get that accessible. He does take quite a bit of damage, though. One blast of MPL from the Panther.
You have the cap now, which is a pretty big thing if both teams are planning a control strat.
True, but that strike that just hit Scout Derek, oh my god, he's down 40%. Lerm God up on the roof. They have a UAV as well to assist them from any kind of flank that might develop. 2 UAVs from both teams, so very good.
Scott Derek's in somewhat of a bad place, open in the back. Right arm is pretty much one touch.
So,
but it is a command, so he could probably get down to 2% health without actually losing anything.
Yes, and Stimrog finally making his way up to the front lines with the dual heavy Gauss Thanatos. We'll see what happens here with that.
Looks like we have somewhat... I can't tell if they're getting ready for a flank, Pasha and Naveed. Nope, just spreading out, just repositioning.
Both teams focusing a little bit on the UAVs, you know, trying to clear the surveillance of the field so that they can make an approach. First Jaguar Guards is being really good about the strikes. They're landing quite a few of them. If I anticipate if they continue to weaken God Squad like they are, they're going to push.
I think so. That tends to be their MO. They're pretty good about knowing when that magic moment is to actually push in and start slinging some lead.
Looks like Bowser might be coming around on the flank here with his Vapor Eagle 2, using PPCs to engage the Vapor Eagle from Lermgod. He's got 2 LB10s and 1 ER PPC. That's a pretty interesting build as well. That's one of the curious ones this season. First Jaguar Guards is taking the cap.
Under enemy control.
6 minutes left on the clock, and nobody's that far ahead in tickets.
Yeah, but it looks like Dario's taking some damage getting that cap. He's down to 60. And open on his head, oddly enough. Must have taken a strike hit to the head, I'm guessing.
Both teams being extremely passive, but again, JGx just being on point with the strikes.
And unfortunately, I'm not sure why EMP is keeping this Thanatos so far back. I don't believe at these ranges it's doing maximum damage. It may still be doing regular Gauss damage, but it seems like it's a bit too far back to really have the punch to take any of these lights out, 1 or 2 shots.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really think, at this point, they have got to be aware of their percentages. They should really just, pick a side and just try to, leverage numbers. But with that being said, if they were to push and if it goes wrong, then they're completely out. And all the tickets that they've taken up to this point would be for nothing.
Stimrog getting a little aggressive on the left, but looks like he's losing trades to this Black Widow, which I'm not surprised. That bandit is for killing lights, not necessarily Black Widows.
Yeah. Magoat and Bowser coming up on the far right side right now against Kraz and Navid. Both are severely damaged, and they're in this corridor with no cover. This is a very dangerous position for both of them. The 3 others from EMP are doing some kind of weird, like, left flanking maneuver. No, they're coming to help. So Bowser and Magoat just got into cover, waiting for their team to come assist. They've pulled JGX away from the cap.
Magoat is just one touch. Both of his torsos are open. His right torso is dark red. If a strong breeze hits him, he's going to die.
Absolutely. But, I mean, that's how it is when you're piloting a light. Sometimes you just got to go in with, massive damage and try to make it work.
What I don't know is, what is this mist links doing? I can't tell if it's, I guess, push prevention, or really what its function is. It's pretty healthy for the most part.
Well, it's got 2 flamers and the machine guns, right? So I think maybe he's just waiting for an opportunity for, to shut somebody down. But with the percentages of his team, he's probably better served right now as almost armor sharing if they were able to engage a light by itself.
Looks like JGX has them pretty well corralled over here behind these buildings.
Yeah, the rooftop's no longer a viable option with the Vapor Eagle doing Overwatch on the rooftop with the PPCs.
Looks like Kong Lord's moving in. I think we have a push. Scout Derek coming up to support him. They're focusing down Kraz, putting the flamers on him. Kraz surviving. He's not open anywhere on the front, it doesn't look like.
Magoat Bowser engaging the Panther along with Stimrog coming around with the heavy gauze. He gets him.
Lots of deaths.
Yeah. EMP starting to swing it back in their favor. They actually have the number advantage now. Now it's tied 3 versus 3. Pasha and Lermgod being the healthiest mechs on the field. Dario might go down next. But not before Lermgod takes Magoat down.
Black Widow's in real good shape. That's going to be a problem.
Absolutely. Alright, all that's left now is the Thanatos. Let's see if he can get some lucky shots. He's going to need to chain 2 kills together.
That was a strike kill. If they can just take that Beagle. He's got 1 heavy Gauss, and there he goes.
Pasha takes him down, and they take the caps. As they had it when the last member of EMP went down. That was a pretty intense match towards the end. It started off really slow.
Yeah, that was a bit rough. I don't know why the EMP took so long to push. It looked like they were, at least some of their mechs, they were running a push deck. And looking at it, yeah, they had the potential to do a pretty decent push with what they brought, but they just kind of sat back.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, looking at the damage numbers, what can you tell me about, like, the star MVPs of this match?
I just closed out of there. You'll have to go over that one. Don't have them me.
All right. So, looking at the damage numbers, EMP, Stimrog, 365, Bowser, 341, leading their team there towards the end in damage and kills. Both of them had 1 kill apiece. Stimrog had 7 components destroyed. Not a whole lot of team damage at all for EMP. They're being very careful about their allies and everything like that. Stars on JGX's side, we had Lermgod, the Vapor Eagle 1, getting 490 damage with that LB10 ERPPC mixed Vapor Eagle. 3 components destroyed, 1 mech killed, 4 assists. And Pasha from JGX also scoring high damage, 421, 4 kills. So Pasha was definitely, doing some work in that Warhammer Black Widow with the 4 ACTs and I believe it was PPC. Lots of component focus. He had 9 destroyed as well. No team damage really for JGX besides maybe bumping into each other. Yeah, that was a good match to watch.
I don't know that I've ever actually seen that build. It's I'm having trouble figuring out what exactly the function of that particular build is. What they were intending to use it for. Of course, they wound up using it for almost pretty much just to shut down that whole right side. But that seemed like more of a function of the mech lab than it did necessarily its viability. Because had that Thanatos pushed that thing, if there was any sort of hard push on that, it's Black Widow, and so they're not particularly tanky. It would have just been absolutely shredded. But I guess whatever they intended it to do, it wound up working out in their favor.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, like, JGX came up into, Echo 3, right? And they were just controlling this area, right? Even though EMP had the jump on the cap and they were able to get it first and get the 70 tickets, you know what I mean? Like, the delay time for the Thanatos coming up, he was really far behind. I mean, his team was already engaging. They already had the cap. They were establishing control. But, I mean, the Thanatos really wasn't there to, make that early difference. I don't know. Seemed a little slow.
And usually it's all right if it is slow. If you're, it makes it a bit more difficult when there's no real super long sight lines, at least from the places that they positioned. But with it, by the time it got up there, I think if it would have been able to push and they would have been a bit more aggressive rather than kind of running a control strat, they may have taken that drop. The damage numbers at the end when the push did happen, I mean, I think it was 3 or 4 pilots between both teams died within about a half a second of each other.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really close there towards the end. But I mean, like, everybody was so low and just like, I was actually really surprised that, with the damage percentages that EMP had, they were able to target focus as well as they did when they came in on that side push.
I think JGX just wasn't expecting it. I
Yeah.
think it seemed like I think it was Kong Lord, if I remember, who was in the Mist Links, just kind of sitting back at the beginning, not doing a whole lot. And he and the Commando just went straight over and in, and they did the push from 2 sides. So I don't think that JGX was expecting the push, especially at that, given that the whole match had been doing control,
Yeah.
trading.
And I mean, absolutely, like all the strikes leading up to EMP's push too. I mean, it just really put them into a bad position. You know what I mean? Like, I think every single pilot on that side took a strike from JGX. And in this tonnage mix, you don't want to get hit by a strike. You get hit by a strike, like, I mean, you're probably going to die later on. It's just so much damage. We're going to be moving into Canyon Network, I believe.
We're looking at Canyon here, and this one's going to be, I think, another control strat. Canyon's, it's tough to push. It is really tough to push.
Yeah, you're going to be looking at Epsilon for the cap point. We're going to go ahead and see probably an engagement across the Delta 5, Charlie 5 ridge. Really shouldn't be a whole lot of action on the Charlie 4, Delta 4 area, but this is Division A, so we might see something that we haven't seen before.
It all depends. I have seen it's been rare. I haven't seen it in this season, I don't think, but I have seen where people come up over. They'll start in Alpha and they'll set up kind of behind Theta. They'll set up right around here, and they'll take the sight lines over here to deal with anything coming from that way. They're able to deal with any sight lines over here to deal with anything set up down around here. But with the cap being Epsilon, who knows? This could very easily devolve into a brawl, but that's an extremely difficult brawl push to make. We've tried and we've tried and we've tried even over at KDCM, and it's tough.
Well, I mean, the Bravo 5 position and this Echo 5 position are just so good for, range trade in the beginning, because it gives you sightlines over the cap. It gives you the ability to, scout the Delta 5 ridge and just kind of control the map. And, I mean, when it really comes down to the Epsilon being the cap, you can't touch Epsilon unless you have that map control. So you need to control all the sightlines. You need to have people in the pocket in Delta 5 or Charlie 5 from the opposing side ready to just, leg or dismember whatever mech goes on to Epsilon.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm expecting. I'm expecting some form of a control strat exactly like that. You could set up over here where you showed in the trash pile. Of course, over here in Echo 5, there's sight lines all down through this whole area where you have some cover. You have cover coming from up top here, Echo, Delta 5, Delta 4, but you still can maintain control over the cap.
Yeah, absolutely. This is 2 heavies and 3 mediums, right?
Let me see. Uh, 3 heavies and 2 lights.
That's right.
Yeah, that sounded off.
Mm-hmm. So I wonder if we'll see a rifleman TC and maybe a Nightjar. That would be probably good picks. I would imagine for like holding a range position or holding those sight lines.
Both teams are locked.
All right, let's see what happens.
The settings, yep, everything looks good. Yeah, it's possible. Those are, there's a couple philosophies on how to control this map. There's the AC2s where you just sit back and essentially try and win the DPS race. But on the flip side of that, this is a fantastic map to Pop-Tart on. And when you have the guys on EMP and JGx who just don't miss with Pop-Tarts, at least not at this range, you very easily could see summoners. You could even see some Pop-Tarting lights potentially, depending on what they're doing.
So we got EMP spawning on the north side, close to Sigma. We have Zeos and a Black Widow Warhammer, Bowser and a Summoner F, Stimrog and a Rifleman 2C, and Magoat and a Wolfhound 2, and Kong Lord and the Urban Mech K9. What do you have for JGX?
Looks like we have Kraz in the Grasshopper 5J, Pasha in the Catapult J, Lermgod in a Warhammer, Dario in the Urban Mech, and Il Orso in a Commando. I do believe we are about to see a push.
Absolutely. They are not going to the right as anticipated. They need to get some scouts up on that Delta 5 ridge. They need to see this coming before it approaches. God Squad taking the Bravo 5 position, expecting a direct push towards Epsilon, but it's not going to happen. JGX is going down the middle.
Oh yeah, they know by now. If they haven't taken shots already, they know where. Oh, and there's the spot.
Yeah, Bowser sees the Commando.
Interesting place set up there. Looks like they used their summoner and their rifleman and got up just on the edge of the map up here next to these little dump trucks. Oh, Kraz is going straight in. Pasha just behind him. Lermgod has already taken some damage.
Yeah, EMP realizing what's going on, Magoat is broken off to put some more caps or more tickets on the cap. So hoping to hold it. I don't know.
I don't know why this is going to be over in within about a minute from now.
Yeah, that's true. Stimrog taking a lot of damage, striking onto his right. He's already being focused quite a bit. Stimrog is down. Pasha kills him. Magoat kills Krasnopetsky. Zeos and El Orso are in each other's face. Nobody is there to help Zeos get this commando off of him.
It's like Lermgod, open CT. Lermgod's gonna be the next one down.
And there he goes, CT exposed. Zeos goes down as well. Pasha taking him with him as well. Last two standing, Magoat and Bowser, doing their best to just kite and evade, this brawl push.
I think given their loadouts, I thought it was possible.
Yeah, Pasha takes out Magoat with the Flamer and SRM Commando. Last one's Bowser. Good luck, man.
Yeah, the Pasha and the Jester, he's almost fresh. Some back damage, but all armor. The Urban Mech, although it's slow, it's pretty much fresh.
Those flamers on that summoner, that's deadly.
Yeah, about to get the old spicy keychain.
Yeah,
yep, there he goes.
Well, that does it for that matchup. You have GGX taking out God Squad, 5 to 2 for the kills. All they got to do now is cap. That was really unexpected, the center line push like that. I mean, they could have even done it a little bit better too. Like, the commando got spotted. There probably would have been a way to approach to that far right side without getting seen. But I mean, God Squad probably knew by the time they didn't see anything down the sight lines from Bravo 5 that it was a brawl.
Yeah, they had to have known. The only other possible thing that could have happened if they didn't immediately see someone down near Epsilon is potentially JGX could have tried to control the map from a spot that completely surrendered Epsilon. Maybe around Theta. They could have tried to wrap around towards the back over here by Sigma, but that's such a far-fetched idea. They had to know that the brawl push was coming.
Yeah, I mean, they did their best to kind of separate the brawl push as it was coming in, you know what I mean? But mechs got through, you know what I mean? Like the Commando 1D from Il Orso was on the Black Widow in the back, right? And there was no support because of that kind of they flowed around the team like water and went for the backfield mechs. So,
we have possession of Kappa.
It looked like when they actually started pushing in, Kraz was the meat shield. He went in. I don't even know how much damage he got, but he went in. He was up front. He was just twisting like crazy, and he was taking all the brunt of the attack, which allowed the rest of his team to get up there, and that was that. Yeah, Kraz was 76 damage. He was literally a walking meat shield. He might as well have been welded onto the front of one of the other mechs. And that's perfect, because that allows Pasha to just absolutely destroy people.
Let's look at the damage now while we're moving on to the next map.
Let's see. So looking at it, yeah, Kraz got 76 damage total, which is exactly what he was meant to. That Grasshopper has some good armor quirks. It's fast. You can use your jump jets to throw off some shots. It's an excellent, essentially tanking mech for a big, solid brawl push.
Yeah, the Pasha just was carrying as he does. He had 556 damage, 3 kills, 2 assists, no team damage, 6 components destroyed. Dario not that far behind with 2 kills as well, 5 components destroyed, 298 damage, a little bit more probably focused, I guess. And then for EMP, you had Bowser being the last one alive, 375 damage with 3 components destroyed, 1 kill, 1 assist, 1 team damage. Oh well, doesn't matter. Magoat with 234 damage, good damage for God Squad, receiving that push, but, the way JGX pushed in, they really just didn't have the right mechs to focus at the right time, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, JGX straight up conga lined in. Kraz was in front, and then right behind him came the Jester, and then I think right after that came the Warhammer. They literally went in a straight line, at least in the initial part of the push, and the Catapult and the Warhammer came out unscathed on the first part of the push, which allowed them, at that point, they were within optimal, and they were able to, of course, out-trade the Summoner, because the Summoner just doesn't have the DPS at that range. And the Rifleman, it just wasn't able to stop it. If any of those were going to be able to stop a push like that, it would be the Rifleman that was up top, almost outside of the, right on the border of the map. But it just didn't have I don't know if it was a focus fire problem or if it was a DPS problem, but they just couldn't stop the push.
So we're about 2 matches in. First Jaguar Guards leading with 22 points. God Squad trailing with 5. It's not over yet, so we will see what God Squad can do. Let's go ahead and take a look at the map strat really quick, and we'll go over what happened on Canyon briefly, and then we'll move on to Terra Therma while these teams get ready. So, I mean, like you were saying, it was just, Kraz and the rest of the 1st Jaguar Guards, they spawned in Charlie, and they took the route through Echo 4 down the center. Then, Il Huerto's commando crossed. That's when God Squad noticed that it was for sure a definite push. You had the Wolfhound capping Epsilon at the time, mechs getting their sightlines set up to kind of receive like range trade, right? That wasn't the case because JGx went through Charlie 4 and separated around at this line, and then some conga line, and then the lights like went for the back flanks, like Bravo 5 attacking the Warhammer Black Widow, and it was just a messy brawl all in this area right here. Oh my god, I'm just kidding.
It was everywhere, and their approach was just brilliant. It absolutely worked perfectly. I think that if EMP would have maybe done a couple different things in the mech lab, they would have been able to stop it. Maybe if they were set up a little bit better, but pretty much we're talking if they had a crystal ball, they might have been able to stop that. But the mechs that they brought, or the JGX brought, were just perfect, absolutely perfect for that type of brawl.
Yeah. And I mean, God Squad was separated at the initial beginning of the brawl push, so I mean, they didn't really have a chance to like consolidate. But I mean, you don't always want to like just group together when you're getting brawled. You know what I mean? It's actually kind of good to stay spread. And I think that's what gave them the 2 kills overall during that brawl. But a little bit more consolidation might help them.
I think it might have been focus fire that was the issue.
Yeah.
They focus fire potentially positioning. If I couldn't tell if JGX was able to pie off some of the different mechs. If they were able to get shots on the Warhammer without taking shots from the Summoner. But what I would have expected is for them to essentially just make a big gun line right down through here and focus the mechs one at a time. Kraz, when they came in on the push, Kraz comes in, drop him immediately, go to the next heavy, send the lights after the heavy. Everyone on the heavy.
Which mech was from Team 2? I know there was like a couple that went down first, and they were up here, I believe. And then we had mechs down by Epsilon. Like they needed to do exactly what you just said. Like fall back, and the guys that are already in the back, like start focusing something. As soon as these guys get back, turn around and focus that target as well. But you had somebody back here getting attacked by commando. You had just chaos, just pure chaos. Nobody was helping each other. It was probably a lack of communication for the beginning of the brawl.
Yeah, I think that was, at least that's what it seemed like to me. There was just no focus fire. I don't know. I couldn't tell if the lights were too tied up to really help the Black Widow, or for EMP, or what the problem was. But that light just ate the Black Widow alive.
He sure did. Let's go ahead and talk about Terra Therma. This one's going to be interesting, but it's going to be a classic as well. The weight classes is, 3 assaults and 2 mediums?
It is 2 assaults, 3 mediums.
2 assaults, 3 mediums, that's right. And the cap is Theta. That's why I say it's going to be a little bit of a classic bout. JGX in the past has used this Fox 6 position with the Learn Boat, but they are on Team 2 this time, so I don't think that's going to be an option for them. But what other kind of trickery can Team 2 use to their benefit on this 9-grid area?
So the problem that I've always found is there are places where you can set up on the south side. You can set up, of course, mechs, you can set them up over here to get sight lines, doing a little bit of pop-tarting, using this hill as a cover. You can set them up way back here. You can even set them up, depending on where the enemy team is, set them up kind of over here to be able to receive a Fox 8 push, or if that happens. However, Team 1 on this map, they just have a better time controlling Theta.
Yeah.
It's just easier for them to be able to set up around Theta.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, if you get an assault right here, in that pocket, like, you almost have to push that assault, because he he has full control of Theta. You know what I mean? Unless he's forced out. There's a caveat to that though, because being in that spot is strike hell, right? You're gonna catch strikes all day. It's very dangerous to use that pass. But,
yeah, it is. You really have to have perfect timing and perfect positioning, sitting far enough back where essentially you're able to pop out whenever you need to and then go back into cover.
Yeah. The Golf 8 bridge is going to play to Team 1's strength of, harassment, maybe, getting the eyes off of the guys in the pass if they put any there at all. The stairs, Fox 7, Echo 7, there's some good spots here as well for controlling Theta. But realistically, when Team 2 comes in, their job is going to be, set up sight lines and set up a way to kind of force Team 1 back so that they can get cap control. Because the way this map is kind of orchestrated from the start, it almost seems as if Team 1 is given cap control just because of the cover and sight lines that are available to them at the beginning of this match.
Just about, yeah, which is kind of what makes me, I may be wishful thinking here, but what I'm hoping will wind up happening is this. Just a straight brawl in that they bring
Yeah.
next, they push right in and essentially decide, we're going to go right first. We're going to go left first. We're going to send our lights to deal with the stuff on the left, and we're going to go crush their assaults. However they decide to do it, I'm hoping the JGx just absolutely pushes in and goes balls deep. However, it's risky.
That's the thing. Pushing from Team 2 side is very risky. But if you can create like the separation on Team 1, like say they put 2 of their mechs in this position and like 3 here or whatever, right? If you can create the separation where you can push in, drive them back, and then it's a 5-on-2 scenario, that's what you want. But I would actually say a brawl push from Team 1 is actually a little bit more desirable, only because it's just so surprising, right? You come in, from both sides, you consolidate near Theta, and then you just go balls deep over Gulf 6. And if there's any mechs in this area, you can wreck them.
Yeah, I don't know. It depends on. It kind of depends on what the enemy team brings. It's kind of a game of Russian roulette. If you have mechs set up to receive a brawl push, heavy DACA, Mad Cats, Blood Asps, stuff like that, pushing from the south is super, super dangerous.
Yeah.
On the flip side, you can actually get up in a brawl push on this map. You can get up to, where is it? Right here from the south side without taking any damage.
Absolutely.
Whereas on the north side, when you push into Theta, you have sight lines on you you can have sight lines on you from 4 or 5 different locations.
Yeah, and that's why both these teams need to use their like a fast medium option just to get that intel, that scouting. You know what I mean? Like there's going to be an initial moment, probably within the first 30 seconds of the match, where Team 1 and Team 2 are going to meet on the cap, right? But while they're at the cap, they need to be looking over the shoulder of the enemy mech, and kind of relay the information to the team. Like they have brawl assaults, they're set up to trade, they're pop-tarting, whatever information they can relay while they're battling that mech for the cap initially, because they're going to have maybe 5 seconds, 10 seconds to just, glean some kind of information.
Yeah, and that's that can be probably the most important thing in the whole game, is figuring out, are they about to brawl push us? Because that changes everything, whether you're setting up to receive the brawl push or whether you're setting up to trade. And on this map especially, if they're able to get their brawlers up to that little ramp right down here without you noticing, you have a problem.
Yes.
You have a big problem, because then they're between any point that you could possibly be, they are 400 meters?
Yeah, I believe so.
So yeah, at that range, AC2s aren't going to beat LB20s. It's just not going to happen.
Not going to happen. You're right. Well, I mean, you probably have to give up both your arms, maybe a leg, but you'll get close enough. It's fine.
Minor details.
Yeah, synergy. Word of the day. Well, we're still waiting for both these teams to ready up. While we're waiting, I'm going to go ahead and just bring up the tournament screen again, and I'll just briefly touch on what you guys might have missed when I was having technical difficulties at the start earlier, because we didn't record the 2v2 because I'm an idiot. Anyways, here we go. I'm just going to bring that up for a second. Oh, never mind. We'll look at it later. We are locked.
It looks like they are both good. Sending it.
Yeah, that was a good 2v2 too. 2v2 too. I'm really sad that I didn't get that on video.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I don't know if maybe there's some Div 1 meta that I don't know about, but I was not expecting Lerms on that. Of all things between these two teams, that was some that was a bit of a surprise.
All right, so I'm looking in the dropship right now for JGx. We have Lermgod in a Direwolf Prime, and there they went. Don't mind my Steam overlay. All right, we have Lermgod in a Direwolf Prime, Pasha in a Vapor Eagle 2, Grolsch in an Annihilator 2A, and Navid in a Phoenix Hawk 2, Kraz in a Vapor or a Vulcan 5T. What do you have for EMP?
I got exactly what I wanted. Brawl, baby! Bowser in a Victor 9A1, Stimraug in a Cyclops 10Q, McGoat, a Vapor Eagle A, Zioz in a Vulcan, and Konglord in a Phoenix Hawk.
All right.
Yep, Vapor Eagle A, that's the Scorch build, Force Serm 6 Arty, and LB20. Stimraug, the Cyclops 10Q, all the Serms in the world. This is ballsy. This is really, really ballsy.
So we're seeing a bit of a split here for EMP. 3 going for the stairs in Fox 7, and 2 going to that Gulf 8 pass. JGx dropping a UAV, not really contesting the cap much, but Kraz is watching the enemy team for their movements. They are set up for range. JGx is looking like they're set up for range. You know, Pasha's in the center, and Lermgod closing up from behind. They're waiting for him to get there. Grolsch in the Annihilator 2A taking his position as well. Nobody really doing anything right now other than waiting for the enemy team to...
EMP is going on the Zimbabwe flank.
Oh.
They are going
They
all
weren't going
the
to
way
stairs
around.
at all.
Yep, they just skipped right over the stairs. They're looking to come up and do a little bit of butt stuff on JGX. However, they are, I mean, way out there. They're going probably, what, 70 to 75, depending on the builds?
Yeah.
So it's going to take them a while to get up here, and unfortunately, if you look at where Grolsch and Pasha are positioned, they have about 35 miles of sight lines on these guys. So they're going to have to be super careful on the approach.
Yeah, I would, you know, if Grolsch and Pasha aren't even looking at these 3 when they come around the back left side, well, Kraz is heading over there now. He's probably going to scout it. I wouldn't even fire a shot. I would wait until I'm close enough, you know, to really engage these 2. But
oh yeah,
they spotted it. That's sad.
Yeah, they must have been made. There's no way that...
Come on, JGX. Just pretend they're not there. Come on, let them go through. That was probably the most exciting thing that was going to happen on this map, and you ruined it.
And their EMP's reacting by turning around. They are noping right the hell out of there.
Kraz with his big brain scouting. Oh, damn it.
Theta is controlled by the enemy.
Yeah.
It's like Navid's on the cap, and he's going to full cap it.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's nobody to stop him. They know that EMP's on that backside. Just they've spotted it. You know, once you scout something like that, you might as well just turn around and set up for more standard play. There's no point in just, you know, trying to force it. There's even a UAV over here. They're just waiting. Your plan is bust. You know, you got to adapt. Don't bother taking any additional damage trying to force it to work.
Oh, interesting build. Bowser on the 9A1. He's running 3 LB10s. It's a pretty nasty build. Gives you a little bit more range utility than, you know, the standard SERMs and I think it's an AC-20 Victor.
Yeah. All right. Looks like God Squad, realizing that they've been made on their attempt to backdoor JGx, are readjusting. They did go ahead and leave 2 mechs over on that side, hoping that JGx will get distracted and forget about them. We'll see what happens. There's a good possibility that might actually happen, but they did have to take the Cyclops away from that push on the side, and he is now, I would say, less useful where he's at now, but unless he has to do cap denial. Which they might if they can get the cap.
No, it's just I think it's too late. They've given up their biggest advantage, which is speed.
Yeah.
That's why they're taking these mechs. If they just wanted to brawl, they could come in with annihilators running quad 4 or 5 LBs if they just wanted to go in and brawl. But they took these mechs because they wanted the speed, and unfortunately, these just aren't fast enough to do what they were trying to do going around the back.
Well, God Squad is doing a really good job right now of just like telling Kong Lord to just stay on the cap and take it, because this is pulling JGX in, right? And this is kind of what they need. And if they pull JGX in at this point, and get the cap control, that flank with the 2 mechs on the side could actually work. But they'd have to pull all of JGX up, and it looks like they're trying to do that.
Doesn't look like he's able to get the cap. They're doing pretty good denial on it. The Vulcan seems like the Vulcan, although he's probably just doing scratch damage. That's all you need to stop a cap.
Well, yeah, you're just doing strike after strike, you know what I mean? And it's very difficult to take cap when your team isn't able to shut down sight lines for the enemy.
Oh no. Bowser and McGoat are pushing in, and
spotted.
They are just getting reamed.
They're breaking right, looking for another cover position. But I mean, with the the Assault and the Vape Regal and the Direwolf able to just kind of
push.
Yes, it is.
EMP's pushing off of Theta. They are pushing. Yep, Kong Lord, Zyaz, and Stimrog all pushing straight in.
Kraz kills Zyaz. There's a chance here, though, that the God Squad could isolate, these mechs on either side, but so much damage taken already. Lerm God kills Magoat. Just refocusing on Bowser.
I think this might potentially be a sweep if Lerm God. Oh, there he goes.
Bowser working on Navid on the left. He's trying to survive. Kong Lord coming in. Oh, he goes down 16%. Was it? Oh, they both went down. That's it. God Squad trying to do a flank. They got made by Kraz with the scout, and they really couldn't fix it at that point. Too much time had passed.
Yeah, I don't understand that strat. They must have run a lobby on this, and they must understand that sending 70, 75 kph mechs on that Zimbabwe flank, it'll just take too long. They must have done the timing to see that an Annihilator can get up here towards Theta, where you're approaching from 1,000-meter sightline. Just not entirely sure where they were going with that one.
Well, if they wouldn't have been made by the scout, they could have pulled it off. They could have came up on the assault and the medium, the 2 assaults and the medium, and maybe gotten one of them down. But it's just like, why wouldn't you scout the Zimbabwe flank if you don't see anything in front of you?
Yeah, if there's nothing in front of you, and they did scout the right-hand side to make sure they weren't pushing up over that bridge, where else could they be? Yeah, looking at it, damage numbers are super low on EMP's side.
Yeah, I mean, they brought, brawl mechs to a range fight, and they didn't get into their brawl positions due to the scout that caught them. Highest damage was Bowser in the Victor, 406, right? He was able to get 1 kill and 3 components destroyed, but really unable to keep him in the fight as long as they needed to for Bowser, because the rest of the team was dying. Everybody was split, and I mean, you can brawl from separated positions, but you need to go in at the same time, and nobody can stall out. You really got to get that pincher off.
Yeah,
pincer
and
maneuver off.
you need to be going faster. That's the other thing.
Yeah, exactly.
To make something, that strat would be great if they had heavies. If they were running heavies that could go, 85 at the minimum, I think is what you would need.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, just looking at the damage for JGX, like Grolsch and the Annihilator 2A and the Direwolf Prime for Worm God, just abusing AC2s, because nothing was fast enough to close, and they knew exactly where everyone was. So very unfortunate for their strategy just falling in on itself. Let's cut over to map strat real quick, and we'll just kind of go over what we saw. So Theta being cap, right? EMP tried to come up like they were going to stairs, and they went on the Zimbabwe flank. JGX was already set up in this area here. 2 assault mechs in Gulf 6 with medium, right? Already bad positioning for that flank. Kraz spotted it. They decided to hold, and then JGX already had the cap. And then it just kind of devolved into a kind of a sit and wait kind of game. But God Squad knew they had to do something. But what they did was pulled back the Cyclops back to stairs, left 2 mechs on the side, hoping to kind of create that pincer maneuver, But it just didn't. It wasn't executed well enough to really, force JGX into a position where they were going to lose.
I don't think it was necessarily a problem of execution. I mean, Bowser got up there, and he got up there deep when he was coming from this Gulf 5, Gulf 6 flank. I don't know how he wasn't vaporized coming up right through here, because he had a dire wolf on him. He had the Annihilator giving him a little attention, and I have no idea how he got up close enough to that dire wolf to be able to kill it. So I don't think it was a problem of execution. I think it was a problem of strat. I mean, how do you do that? How do you run from 700 meters brawl mechs up on what would that be? 14 AC2s?
Yeah, they tried to, make that approach, but then they were like, oh, we're just going to die. So they dipped into Gulf 5, right? Then, they were completely made, you know what I mean? They were probably hoping pulling back the Cyclops and showing the Cyclops at Theta would, kind of make JGX think that they pulled back the Zimbabwe flank. But, it just wasn't enough to, readapt the strategy to fix it.
JGX didn't have to move. It doesn't matter which side they're coming from. They let them get set up. I mean, they had a mech. Oh, where was it? They had an Annihilator here. They had their Direwolf. Their Direwolf is set up where? Right back around here. And they had control. From here, they could shoot towards Theta and deal with anything from there. They could shoot towards Gulf 6 and deal with anything from there. There was no fooling them at that point. If you don't push from Team 1 side, I mean nonstop push.
Yeah.
Do not take off the W key. Then what will happen is exactly what happened. The Team 2 side will get set up, and you're screwed.
It would have been just much better for them if they would have just taken faster mechs, and just gone straight over Fox 6, Fox 7, hugging the wall, and then dipped into Gulf 6 and just attack this area, with first mechs that they see, just focus fire it down. Completely ignore the cap and just go for it if that's the mechs that they were going to bring and the strat that they were hoping that would work.
Well, and the other strat that I've seen work sometimes on this, if you're doing brawl from Team 1 side, is somewhat of a setup. You come up, you sit here, you come up and you sit here, and you absolutely 150% have to take the cap and hold it. And what winds up happening is you can literally just sit back, your assaults, all of that, sit back in those little pockets, Fox 7, Fox 8, and you don't have to do anything. You can be out of the range of strikes, out of the range of everything. And what winds up happening is if you have your lights controlling Theta where it can't be capped, the enemy has to push their, 2,000 meter range right up to here to get you, at which point they're in brawl range. But even that is super, super risky and super tricky to do.
Yeah, exactly.
But EMP didn't do that.
No, they didn't. All right, I'm going to go ahead and bring up the Trials of Combat Season 2 tournament for Div A, and we're going to just take a brief look at it. I'll bring up the scoreboard as well, and then we're going to look at Alpine Peaks. While I'm doing that, Gig, you want to set up like some lines on Alpine Peaks on this map strat? I'll be right back.
Yeah, let me get her put up.
All right, looking at the tournament, as it stands now, you have 1st Jaguar Guards at 222 points, God Squad trailing behind with 180 points. Oops, it's the Wild Ones with 125 points, Russian Jade Falcon with 78 points. This match is very important for God Squad if they want to contest 1st Jaguar Guards. So far, they've, they're having some problems, but we could see, maybe on Alpine Peaks coming up if things will shift in their favor, along with the Frozen City Classic coming up as well. We'll see what happens. 2 matches remain. You have round 5 today and then round 6 coming up next week, and that'll be the end of Div A's Season 2 matchups. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and bring up the scoreboard for everybody to see. And I will also bring up the tournament thing again because I didn't switch tabs, so everything I just talked about was pretty much null and void, but I will bring it up right now. So 1st Jaguar Guards leading with 32 points, God Squad trailing behind with 6. 2 matches remain in today's matchup between God Squad and 1st Jaguar Guards. So we'll see what happens coming up. Here's the scoreboard I was talking about. That I had the map strat up, so you didn't see it. But here it is, so you can see it. And that's what I was talking about. All right, cool.
It looks like Team 1 is locked, just waiting on EMP on the Team 2 side.
All right, map strat is back up. Take us through Alpine Peaks, my friend.
So if both teams decide to do range, which is of course distinctly possible, it's Alpine. Team 1 side, they have the potential. These are the spots that they have the potential to set up in, right? All of these spots have cover over Sigma, and cover over all the other kind of standard spots. Same thing with Team 2 side. All of these are the spots where they can get either cover on the other guys or cover over Sigma. Looks like we're launching. So, at least in my experience, Team 1 pretty much has the advantage on the cap. And the reason being, I don't know that they can get there quicker necessarily, but they can get sight lines on Sigma almost immediately. I mean, they just step out of Charlie spawn and you have sight lines.
Yeah, Team 1 has a huge advantage, just like pushing down the hill, right? They start up at the top, they have their sight lines, and they can just push down a hill.
Yeah, they can just deny cap and take the cap whenever they get the chance. They have control over it. Flip side, I think personally, I think Team 2 side has the better spots to trade, the south side.
Yeah.
I feel like they have the better spots. They have more sight lines. They have kind of stranger sight lines, like the ability to go up on this mountain over here behind Sigma. So really, it depends on whether they want to do a trading game.
EMP dropping now in the south. We have Bowser in a Vulcan 5T, Magoat in a Summoner D, Kong Lord in a Marauder 2C, and Zeus in a Battlemaster 1G, and Stimrog off in Zimbabwe with a Direwolf S. What do you have for the 1st Jaguar Guards?
Looks like we have Grolsch in the Annihilator 1P with lasers, Pasha in the Summoner F. Let's see, a Zeus 9S, interesting choice for Lerm God. Nate in the Death Strike, and Il Orso moving up in a Vulcan. Curious what's on the Zeus. 6 large lasers on the Zeus from Lerm God.
Yep. I'm gonna have to try that build. That looks like fun.
That looks like it looks like a spicy boy.
No.
6 large lasers.
I normally don't pilot Zeus's, so this inspires me to try one.
Yeah, 6 large is a lot on an 80 tonner, especially an IS 80 tonner. You have trouble fitting 6 large functionally on the blood asp. Even at that, it's super hot.
Il Orso scoring the cap for first Jaguar guards and briefly dodging the strike, but still gets hit a little bit. He's down 10%.
Look at the mountain. Look at Stimrog with this direwolf.
Yeah,
what is he doing?
He's hill humping. He's trying to get to the top. I don't know why he didn't. Why? I mean, it would have been shorter to go path, right? I mean, I'm confused. I don't know what's going on. He has 8 AC2s. But... It's ultraviolet direwolf, combo. So we'll see what happens here. Then on the pod mech.
This is the Zimbabwe flank I like to see. Sending a direwolf. I wonder if he's. There's no way he's going up to the actual top of the mountain to shoot from there. The range is just too long to really do any damage. I think what he's trying to do is come up over here closer to Epsilon and give him a little bit of that butt stuff. But can he get there in time?
God Squad able to move in and neutralize the cap. No real damage or pure exchanges that have happened yet. The direwolf just got into position though, so we'll see what happens. Why?
All right, so he's in position, he's engaging. How is the rest of EMP responding?
Well, this is the point where such a distraction is to be used as leverage. We'll see what they decide to do.
Nothing. They are doing nothing. They're sitting back and they're trading. They've started trading. They were sitting back doing literally nothing, waiting for him to get in position, just saving their health. But it looks like now they're just trading from that position, which is kind of odd.
It's kind of like Stimrog is pushing over the top of the mountain, and he's just kind of like saying, like, "Hey, look at me! Do something about me! I'm right here!" And, JGx is just like, "Nah, we're good. We're going to control this cap."
Well, and the problem is they're not using... EMP isn't using this to their advantage. I mean, the direwolf, he's forcing the Annihilator out into the open. The Annihilator's out there, and he's not taking cover from anything, but there's no mechs really to shoot him. They're not taking advantage of this.
Some damages have changed quite a bit, though. I mean, first Jaguar Guards has 62% on the Annihilator 1P for, most damaged mech. Nate, not that far behind with the Mad Cat Death Strike. Sufficient damage done to the Direwolf S from Stimrog that's pushing over the top of the mountain at the moment. I think EMP is winning the tonnage trade here. I think they're the healthier group. Yes. But the Direwolf S is just, I don't know what it's doing, but hopefully we'll see soon what it's meant to do.
Looks like Bowser in the Vulcan looks like he's almost legged. He's open leg. I think they're trying to take him out of the fight entirely so that they can retake the cap.
Il Orso taking quite a bit of damage as well from the ER larges. Strike just hit Grolsch again. JGx needs to help Grolsch out. They need to bail him out, I think. Pasha moving into a position to engage the Direwolf S, so it doesn't move up any further. I mean, JGx is just set for cap control, map control from these positions, but, the flanking Direwolf is making a difference for EMP, but they need to use it.
See, this is what they should have done a lot sooner. Pasha has a choice: sit there and get hit by ER large, or try and deal with the Direwolf. Yeah. They should have been push their assaults up a lot sooner and made them more targets to actually take advantage of this flank. Oh, I have a feeling the Direwolf's in trouble. Vulcan's coming around on him. Oh, he's open CT. There he goes.
Il Orso destroys Stimrog. Direwolf is gone. But not before, first Jaguar guards have taken a lot of damage.
Oh yeah, their assaults are really hurt. Death Strike 43, Grolsch at 28. He must be see, does he have any? Yeah, he still has one large laser. He's open CT. Kind of light orange armor. Could maybe take a couple more lasers on the CT before he pops.
Yeah, Zeos and Konglord and Magoat just being forced into a position of just like, you know, having to hide, having given all the damage they've taken over this time, and now that their flanking mech is removed from the fight, JGX has even more control.
But they do have the cap now. They took the cap, and they
That's
have
true.
that annoying little Vulcan sitting up there that can just control the cap entirely.
If they're able to,
Orso
Yep.
is pushing, and there he goes.
Takes out Konglord. If EMP is able to, you know, control the cap for 3 minutes, that'll be really good for them, because I think that's enough tickets to bypass JGX. But Il Orso is just sweeping through them at the moment. Nothing can stop him. He's just so healthy.
I think his leg's about to pop. Yep, there goes his leg. But, I mean, how much damage has he done? Yep, and the rest of JGX has fallen up.
Yeah, even if they can get this Vulcan down, like, you know, it's going to be really hard for them to recover with only one mech left on the field.
Yeah, this is most probably over. Yep, JGX just took the cap. That's, I do believe that is it.
Yeah, 2 minutes.
The question I have is, can Bowser get that kill on the Annihilator?
Every point matters. Hopefully he can.
No, I don't think so. Grolsch is hiding. He's taking cover behind the cap point, and the rest of these guys have pushed up. Where is Nate hurt? Oh, Nate. They could get a kill on... Oh, that's strange. Yeah, they could get a kill on Nate if he can get CT. It's dark red, one touch. Strangely enough, the Death Strike has 3 PPCs. I didn't notice that.
Wow, yeah, you're right. That's all it has. Usually you see, like, the Gauze build, but this is new. I might have to try that as well. I have a Death Strike. Ooh, Bowser getting hit by the PPC right there.
He's one touch left torso. His leg is open.
If he gets hit in that torso again, man, it's goodbye. Goodbye, Vulcan. I don't know. With the Zeus that close, it's not going to be good.
Oh.
And Lermgod coming up and killing the Vulcan with that 6 ER large Zeus. What a you know, switch of events during this whole match. It was insane. We saw the Dire Wolf climb a mountain, try to get that flank, get completely ignored until it was too late.
Oh god, I had so much hope when I saw that Dire Wolf going up there. So much hope. Yeah, I think that had potential to be a very, very good flank. I mean, just a game-breaking flank, but unfortunately, EMP, it didn't seem like they were taking advantage of it, taking advantage of the repositioning that they forced upon JGX.
Yeah, that's the truth. I mean, let's see here. What did the Direwolf Prime or Direwolf S do? Did 563 damage. I mean, he had his uses, but I mean, he was shooting on a completely different, you know, like armor side, right? You know, he's attacking their left rear and their left front for a majority of that match, even if he had the shots that he needed. So, you know, without the rest of God Squad moving up, or EMP moving up to help, you know, while he was adjusting that flank, it's wasted damage because, you know, everybody needs to focus, you know, that front arc, the mech, and that wasn't happening because the flank wasn't being utilized to its fullest ability.
Which is unfortunate. I feel like, I think part of the problem, I think, who was in the Dire Wolf? Let me look. Was it Stimrog?
It was Stimrog. He had 563 damage, 1 component destroyed. Goat, 558 damage, 5 components destroyed, and the Summoner D. And I'm just going to go over JGX real quick. Mad Cat 2 Death Strike with 3 ER PPCs had 714 damage, 3 components destroyed. Larm God with 480, and the Zeus with 6 ER large. And yeah, it was pretty interesting. Lots of different builds that I haven't seen before. But back to what you were saying.
They, I think if Stimrog would have been able to stay hidden a little longer, if he would have stayed a little bit more low ground back there in Hotel 8, Hotel 9, to where he could get actually in range, because I think he was firing at like 1,500 meters or something like that. At least that's how it looked. I don't believe he was in optimal range. I think if he could have stayed hidden a little longer and got up behind those two, what was it, the Summoner and the Annihilator, I think that would have been it.
Yeah.
If he could have got a little closer, he would have just absolutely wrecked the both of them. I don't think they'd have the DPS to take him. But he got spotted super early, and at that point, I think JGx was able to put more damage on him than they were putting on or than he was putting on JGx.
Yeah. Looking at the overall score right now, we have First Jaguar Guards with 42 points and God Squad with 7. I'm going to cut over to the map strat real quick, and we'll just kind of go over briefly what we saw on Alpine Peaks. Yeah, you want to draw it up?
Yeah. So we had, let's see here, JGx doing normal stuff. Came down, set up a mech here, mech back over here, sent their, I think it was a Vulcan if I recall correctly, up to Sigma, took the cap. EMP did mostly normal stuff, sent their Vulcan, which had two large lasers to control the cap. They sent him up to get the cap. Then he inevitably came back over here and just played control from back here. They put the rest of their guys here, kind of down in this area. But then they decided to send a Direwolf on a Zimbabwe flank. The Direwolf somehow magically jump jetted up the side of the mountain, came around, got spotted, I think it was somewhere around here, and just started spraying down range. Problem is, he got spotted too early, I think.
Yeah, he sprayed all right. He got hit by the fucking strike too, right on India 8 on the the cross between and all these grids. I just kind of felt like he got ignored. You know what I mean? I don't know. It was kind of.
I think so, because I think they realized he's out of range.
He's hitting a left-facing arc of mechs, like a left front or left rear, right? So it's not CT focus. It's
he's hitting the left. He's not really, he's one mech, while JGx was able to return fire with at least 3 mechs.
I mean, it might sound stupid, but I'm just gonna go ahead and say it anyways. Like God Squad, as soon as the Direwolf got spotted, the Stimrog should have been like, they see me, and then EMP should have just been like, all right, let's go, woo!
Yes, that is exactly what should have happened. And had that happened, it would have been a win, because what wound up happening is I don't think JGx was expecting a Direwolf to be sitting on the top of the mountain. I think they kind of panicked a little bit before they realized, at that range, it wasn't a huge threat.
Yeah.
So they actually started exposing over here. They started exposing JGx, exposing their Annihilator over here. They started exposing their Summoner over here and eventually back over here. But EMP wasn't there to capitalize. They were all still sitting down here, trading up this way. And so these mechs were just sitting out there with not worrying about anything, completely carefree.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whereas had that Direwolf been there and these guys actually pushed up, taking a big gun line right here, that Annihilator would be dead. I mean, in 2.5 seconds.
I mean, the way they played it, since they really didn't use that flank to their advantage, they might as well have just taken the Direwolf with them. What's the point in sending the Direwolf off on its own if they're not going to use it, when it becomes an advantage?
I will say, though, that is quite possibly the ballsiest flank in this whole season, at least that I've seen.
It was pretty good. I mean, it took a long time to get up that mountain, but I mean, he was hill humping, best he could. It was interesting to see. Yeah, so it's come to my attention, Gig, that we're too sober and we're also smooth-brained casters.
Sounds about right.
So I think I might have a drink here in a minute. We'll spice up this last cast.
I wonder who said all of that.
I think it was a man by the name of PP Waxer. What an interesting name. I'm surprised Twitch lets him, commentate at all in our streams.
I'm astounded he hasn't been banned from, life.
Yeah, exactly. All right, we're going to take a look at Frozen City Night Classic and go ahead and talk about that real quick.
I'm still waiting on people to ready up. Team 1's not set up yet. That's Forest Colony.
Trying to get there.
There we go.
Yay! Cap is Theta, I believe. So Team 2 has an option of just going wide and setting up like a cap control strat. This is 250 tons with 2 duplicates, so you could see a couple of linebackers, you could see a couple of cataphracts, you could see, random things. Who knows, right? But I anticipate that anybody that jumps over the purple line that I'm about to draw is not going to be getting back up, because once you drop over this edge, you need to fight. And if you create any kind of team separation as well, especially from the Team 1 side, where maybe one of your guys drops down and the other guys don't, you could be putting yourself in a bad situation.
Yeah, that's tough. I think the only 2 places you can get up from there are back over here. You can walk back up. I think there's a ramp that if you have like a single jump jet, I think it's somewhere in here, and then of course the long way around coming over here. So yeah, if you fall down there and you didn't want to, good luck.
Yeah. Pretty much it creates a situation of, your entire team needs to be like, oh shit, you fell down, all right, we're coming to help you. Or, well, I guess we'll try and beat these 4 versus 5.
Looks like Team 1 and Team 2 are locked.
Just verify really quick, is it Frozen City Night Classic, or is it Frozen City Day?
Frozen City Night Classic. Let me double check the rules. None of the teams have said anything. Yeah, Frozen City Night Classic.
Okay, good to go. All right.
Yeah, I don't know though. This may be one of those things that gets my gets my blood boiling a little bit. You might have brawl. You might have a couple brawl pushes straight over to hell with the cap. Brawl push straight over the drop ship, right in.
I mean, some classic duplicates we've seen this season are like, 2 linebackers, 2 Vulcans, 2 Vapor Eagles. I've seen 2 cataphracts. I've seen like 2 fleas for this duplicate match, to really like get some assaults on the field. There's a lot of different combinations, even 2 gargoyles, you know what I mean? So you do quite a lot of different things. For JGx, we have Pasha and a Vapor Eagle 2. We have Il Warso and a Vapor Eagle 2, so they took 2 Vapor Eagles. They have the Dervish 6 MR with the medium pulse and the rocket launchers. Navid A1 and a Phoenix Hawk 2C, and Dario in a Vulcan 5T. What do you have for the others?
Over here at EMP, we have something awesome. We have 2 Heavy Gauss Thanatos, Bowser and Stimrog. That's their duplicate.
No!
Yep.
Oh,
outside of that,
wow.
oh wow, we have Zyaz and an Arctic Wolf going, I don't know, maybe 3 kph with 8 CERM 6.
Yeah.
Oh, we have Kong Lord in a Assassin with 1 UAC 20.
What?
And McGoat, a Cypher, 6 machine guns, 2 flamers, 3 small pulse, 2 ER micros. I do believe we have a little bit of, I think we have a little bit of memeing going on over here, but memeing that is still obscenely dangerous.
Hopefully they realize that the cap is Theta, because they're not really contesting it.
I don't think they care. I don't think they give a damn about the cap. I think they're setting up to receive a push, and shortly they're going to realize that push isn't coming, and so they're going to have to readjust.
Mm-hmm. Okay, how does that Arctic Wolf exist? I mean, come on, like, what was it, 8 SRM 6s?
8.
How?
Build.
How? That shouldn't exist.
So, firstly, he's going super slow. It looks like, and secondly, I bet he has maybe a ton or two of ammo. I think he's there just to liquidate any heavies he comes across.
Well, I mean, even if he fires 4 and 4, like, or like 3, 2, 3, like he's gonna overheat. I'm pretty sure. Like, mech doesn't seem like it can exist, but it does.
Maybe it could be this. It could be a good old fashioned suicide bomber.
Yeah.
He could be intended to go up, find one mech, vaporize it, and call it good. Hopefully, make a good tonnage trade out of it.
God Squad trying to make something happen. They keep poking the hills over here, using the heavy Gauss Thanatos a little bit outside of their range, I would believe. They need to be a little bit closer to be more effective on any hits they get. Assassin 26 trying to pull the fight to the right of towards get JGX's attention that way. Thanatos coming up the middle. This is getting aggressive, and it looks like God Squad's finally going to press in.
Up here they come. Looks like JGX is adjusting. They're sending their 2 vehicles up. Oh, Il Orso, he's not doing good.
Nope, 48%. He's being focused.
The Arctic Wolf's on him.
Yep. That Arctic Wolf is tanking this damage. It's moving. It doesn't look like it's overheating, and it is just shooting SRMs all over the field.
Uh-oh. We
got a 1v1 going on. Dario and Piranha. Self-destruction by Il Orso.
And McGoat just took Dario to town.
He sure did. Zeos and McGoat, 57% quality on their mechs. Dario and Pasha not faring very well either. It's pretty even at the moment. It could be anybody's game, but Dario takes Zeos down. The Arctic Wolf 1, that abomination that shouldn't exist, is gone.
Let's see. I wonder if they can get. There goes another one on EMP. Can they get this kill on Dario? That's the question. Dario or Pasha?
The numbers.
The answer is no.
JGX has the numbers now. There's nothing really that they can do God Squad can do to bring this back.
The enemy has capped enough resources. We've failed.
That's going to do it for round 5, Div A, JGX versus EMP. JGX taking a sweeping and definitive victory over EMP today. But it isn't over. There will be another match next week.
Yeah, that was a pretty much a clean sweep by clean sweep by JGX. I'm looking back over the maps. I think the closest that EMP got to taking one was Solaris City. Was that first drop? Are we gonna have any of them over for post-drop interview, you think?
I believe so. I'm going to bring up the scoreboard real quick, and we're looking at the lobby stat damage for the last match real fast. All right, so the 2 Thanatoses got some decent damage, both of them crossing the 300 threshold for damage taken, or damage given. The Arctic Wolf 1 doing 175 damage in its 8 SRM6 build. You had, Pasha, Naveed, and Jiffy defending their team from that push, doing 300-ish damage average across the 3 of them. And then Il Orso and Dario helping out with 169 to 160 damage as well. No real team damage. Everybody being really careful, making sure they don't, step on each other's toes. Let's see if we have an interview happening, possibly.
We have, looks like Bowser, McGoat, and Stimrog all in here.
All right.
Il Orso said he's
all of the EMP representatives.
All of them.
All 3 of us together, we form EMP.
That was that was some ballsy shit you guys were doing. I liked it. I absolutely loved that direwolf flank.
Well, the biggest thing we have to consider is that we practice none, pretty much. We talk about decks and stuff. We do like some small time, like 2v2, 3v3 type lobbies, but our level of practice is basically nil. So we, this last week specifically, spent a lot of time just like trying to come up, with some unorthodox but capable strategies. And if all things went perfectly, which obviously everybody knows they never do, they would have. Should have been a little more competitive. But like Terra, for example, we had a mech lab issue. So one of our assaults, I don't know if you recognized, but he was a bit slower than our other push mechs. So just a little adjustability. But I mean, we had fun. This is probably the most fun set of drops we've had this season.
So
yeah, I got to climb the mountain with the direwolf.
Yeah, that was insane, man. You were hill humping your way up there. You got up there, and then JGx saw you coming over the top, and you did 563 damage on closing in. I was talking with Gig, and I was expecting once you got spotted for the rest of God Squad to kind of like move in, but I didn't really see anything happen. You guys just kind of maintained your trade positions. Was there a reason why?
Our trading positions were our best opportunity to keep whittling them down at that point. It was actually called to move a little bit, and as you guys obviously saw on stream, once we started shifting, it just put us in the open.
Yeah.
I was so hopeful for that direwolf to come in and just absolutely gang rape that Annihilator. It took me a while to even figure out where you were over there, and then as soon as you got up there, saw you had the AC2s. Oh god, that was probably the ballsiest thing in this whole season of comp. That's for sure.
We basically told the guys
core side torsos both.
Yeah, he was. But I was saying we just told everybody, hey, it's gonna be 4v5 for about 27 minutes, so be ready.
Yeah. Yeah, we were kind of debating over the the merits of the flank, because the direwolf is hitting that left facing arc, and then the rest of your team is hitting the front facing arc on most of these mechs. You know what I mean? So it kind of, it's kind of like a damage spread in a way.
Right. The plan is to, because the ridges that face our team, where the enemy take positions, they are exposed to the 90 or whatever degree angle I'm from.
Yeah.
So that kind of pushed the Summoner and the Annihilator out of position. And afterwards, I could even damage the Mad Cat too, but not as much.
So the builds on the last match from God Squad, there was an 8 SRM6 Arctic Wolf 1. What is that?
God Squad. I thought we were EMP.
Or sorry, EMP.
Yeah, I thought we were EMP, dude.
Yeah, get it right. You got to get in line with all the other fucking retards.
My apologies.
JGx, right? That's the idea.
But the 8 SRM6 Arctic Wolf 1, that thing was pretty scary.
Oh, that was somebody take something high burst DPS 40 tons for 45. Hey, I have an Arctic Wolf, like 8 SRM6s. I was like, yes, sure. Best mech. Let's go.
I have an Arctic Wolf. I can load a packet on it. So Bearclaw, what happened when you saw a direwolf come off the mountain?
Well, I think the call was made after we had capped, and we had held it for a little while, or we had traded off and on for a little bit. The caps were in our favor, so it was a choice of like, okay, do I sit here and wait and do nothing with my MPLs, or do I go round back and kill the direwolf? It was open CT when I found it, and then just keep going, right? It was less a matter of like me doing stuff to the mediums and the assaults, and just catching one fell out of position or was caught hurt, and that's kind of the idea there.
What were you guys kind of planning on Solaris? It seemed like EMP almost brought a somewhat of a push deck. You had the Thanatos, you had a Mist Lynx. I recall correctly, you might have had a wolfhound or something like that, and you wound up in kind of both teams in kind of a control strat situation. What were you guys planning on pushing, or did you intend it to be a control strat?
Wait, who is?
What map was this? Sorry, I totally spaced out.
Solaris?
Oh, Solaris, it was definitely more of like a hold and able to receive.
Yeah, that one was pretty much your closest, and hell, you guys almost had it on that push when the mislinks went in, and the commando followed after him. That was, I think, out of all of them, that was probably the most exciting match. Everyone you guys seemed to push at a pretty good time.
The Thanatos was, sorry to interrupt you. I would just like to say the Thanatos was expected to trade a little bit stronger. I think he was a little bit too far away and hammered by 2 traders at the same time, so that was kind of the reason for the Thanatos. I think if we'd had a Black Widow or something, we'd have done a lot better. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, it seemed a little curious, at least for the same reasons. You guys were sitting, or it was sitting a bit far back, and I don't even think, I may be wrong, but it didn't seem like it was shooting in its optimal.
No, certainly not.
No, it is only about 30 points of damage at 500 meters. It's still a dual Gauss alpha, but it's not dual heavy Gauss alpha.
But yeah, I think all in all, great round of matches.
Yeah, it was fun. Not my favorite format. This league definitely is a bit MPL. It's King of the Hill. Everybody fucking pushes, and it got kind of stale in the second week. But overall, it was fun.
Yeah, that seems to be the way this is set up, with it being 5v5 and the way, having the different weight classes like that and the way that they're laid out. Yeah, it seems like push it's really the meta. It makes it, or at least it makes it a lot more viable than it would be in like an 8v8 or 12v12 setting, where you can actually set up a lot of mechs and can control a lot of area.
Well, yeah, I mean, the less players you have, the more DPS becomes king.
But yeah, thanks for coming over.
Cool. GG's,
Thanks
guys.
for casting.
Thank you. You're welcome.
GG's.
Don't forget, anytime that me or Stimrog are in a match, it's always EMP. Doesn't matter who.
I was just
Always
looking at the
EMP.
ticket. It says God Squad, so
yeah, just make sure you don't forget that. It's just everybody out there needs to know. It's just me and Stemrog go form EMP. That's it.
Got it.
Nobody else matters.
Understood.
I won't forget. Got a memory
I
like an elephant.
wanted to make sure that's known.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for coming in to watch Trials of Combat Season 2. That was the Div A match between EMP and JGx. JGx taking the deciding victory over EMP today with a sweeping, I believe it was 52 points. Let me bring up the scoreboard real quick before we close on the stream, just so that you guys can see that.
I think you're right. I think it was 52, because they won both points in the duel and swept every drop. I don't think they won off cap at any time.
According to what I have here, it was 52 JGx versus 8 EMP. Sorry, in that final matchup for round 5. This round 5 of Div A. One more round remaining in the Division A bracket, so we'll see what happens next week. Your casters today were Giggity Giggity Goo and I'm Coyote. Thanks for watching.